Hey Ville, this is Florian from the Berlin rock band Dinosound, and it's a pleasure to ask you a question. How does it feel to be back after the pandemic and all the shit that is going on in the world and play sold out shows like tonight in Berlin? How does it feel? Did you expect this response, or is it very special for you to be back with sold out shows? Thank you in advance.
Thank you for the question. I have to check out his band as well. It feels like somebody has been continuously spiking my water with LSD. Okay. Meaning that feels very unreal and it feels very psychedelic, because of course you can't take it for granted that people would remember your name after all these years, and for a short bit for everybody in the music industry especially, you know, during COVID it felt that it's all over. So I feel blessed, and this is crazy that people still do remember the thing, and the gig's been going really well, and a lot of these shows are sold out, and it's of course it's great, it's fascinating, but it's not something I could have expected. Of course I was hoping for stuff to be good, but it was just way exceeded all my expectations.
But talking about expectations, I can only imagine that a lot of people when they hear, okay, he's back with a solo project, with an album, right? That there are a lot of expectations towards this album, towards these songs. How do you deal with it? Like, do you like don't care and say like, it's my music and I do what I want, and you can go to a cafe and talk shit about yourself or something, or I don't know.
Attitude. I do exactly like that. No, it's I'm not saying that the sort of like recipe for the success of him has been the fact that that we've always been very a closed bunch in a way, that we've had our own world and we do it for ourselves, for the love of Black Sabbath and for the love of Typo Negative and all those bands. But much of it is like that. It's very self-centered, and we're fans of music. So and now I'm talking about like I was still in him, we and this and that. But it's like that for me too. Yeah. You know, I'll be writing stuff. It's like, how can I tell what people like? So it's a worthless thing to think about. If you think in terms of a pop hit, if you're thinking what's on the charts now, as you know, it was recorded months and months ago and written maybe even years ago. So there's no reason to try to follow. That'd be terrible, because you're always late. Yeah. The best thing to do is to follow your gut. Yeah. That's the best chart to follow. You know, depending on your gut, obviously. You know, I'm not talking about the people with medical conditions, but follow your instinct and try to do things differently. I think that's the only thing that makes sense in the world, and that's how I've always functioned. So there's no, because I have to live with the music as well. I had to live with it for a long time, and I think it has to start from that there are things inside you that you don't know how to put into words, and you put them into melodies, and through that it is a cathartic process, and not necessarily a healing one, but it's quite interesting, because music is what I do, as simple as it is. You know, I've done it for such a long time. I've never thought about it. I've never had a plan B. Music is very important to me. It's the companion that has been there ever since the beginning, and my crutch and my safety blanket and my safe zone, and it is my thing. So it's hard to take music out from me, and there's no like that's a record company thing to deal about, you know.
Deal about the expectations and so on from outside.
Because of course everybody wants to succeed, and we don't want. You know, you don't want your album to sound like poop. You know, you're hoping that it will, you know, resonate. But then again, like with Neon Noir, for example, I was very convinced that it shouldn't sound like a modern, uber edited, like very sanitized, especially metal. A lot of the stuff is very, you know, it doesn't breathe. It doesn't have dynamics. It has a sound, you know, and I like some of the sound, but it doesn't work with my aesthetic at all. I want music to be a bit left of center, a bit messed up, and sound a bit quirky, and it has to have mistakes, beautiful little squeaks and squeals and stuff at a time, and all that is very important.
Yeah, thank you so much for your openness. I think this is something like musicians need to deal, right? Always need to deal with it in a sense, right?
Well, but the point about that is the cool thing about music is also that a lot of bands do music, and a lot of musicians start doing music for different reasons. If you think of those things in terms of the classic '80s Motley Crue type of thing that we started because we wanted to get the chicks. It's a very different flow from what I do, because I can't imagine breathing, or I feel I'd be drowning without music. It doesn't mean that my way is better. It's just different, and my perspective is very different. So what I mean by that is that the rules don't apply to everybody. And even though you might be in it for money, for example, let's say Kiss, Gene Simmons, and all those businessmen. It doesn't mean that they never wrote great songs. Yeah. They have fantastic songs, but they came from slightly a different sort of different goal set, so to speak.